Right, hey guys, how we doing? Back with another video from Mother's Basement, and today we are checking out the hottest trash anime of winter 2023, which is the current season that we're in. Love these. Sometimes it inspires me to watch certain things, and sometimes it makes me think, I'm glad I'm not watching that. Or sometimes it makes me think, wait, I'm enjoying that show, how dare you put that onto the list? So let's see how we go with this video. Shall we?
Hello and welcome to Shea Garbage, where we serve only the
Shea
finest
Garbage,
seasonal
right?
trash that anime has to offer, and then also rate it on an extremely intuitive, proprietary scale, because that's a thing restaurants do with their own food. Look, don't...
No, it's not. But I do like that the random ratings he does with these, with like the trash cans and the stuff and everything.
think about the gimmick for these videos too hard. I certainly didn't. This is the hottest trash anime of winter 2023. I do apologize for the slight delay in delivering your meal to you this time around.
Perfectly
but
fine.
In my defense, not only was I very sick last month, but like 10% of all the anime this season were themselves delayed on account of the entire industry pooping the bed all at once.
It has happened. Nier Automata had to take a break, didn't it? And, yeah.
So, actually, I take that apology back. Go complain to Aniplex, especially since they had the goal to cliffhanger us for at least a month right before the hot girls were going to make out in Ayakashi Triangle.
How dare they?
Technically, one of them, Matsuri, is a boy who got turned into a girl with huge boobs and one of them tummy tattoos that are all the rage in H-tags nowadays by a fat little cat monster dude who's secretly a giant scary cat monster dude as revenge for stopping him from eating the actual girl, Suzu, on account of her having special genetics that make her delicious to monsters, but also let her be their friend if they're nice. Also, those genetics apparently make her thighs delicious to everyone, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, none of that changes that they were just about to make out right when the show went on hiatus, and now I feel robbed. Okay, not that robbed. I mean, you could see the stress the studio was under in the quality of the animation long before that delay was announced. So, honestly, the ecchi elements of this anime really weren't up to snuff.
I'm going to show all the lag.
Stretch. So, here we are. If you want to
what is this anime?
Enjoy Ayakashi Triangle,
right, there we go.
You know, like that, my advice is to just read the original manga by Kentaro Yabuki.
Right.
As the artist behind To Love Ru, dude definitely knows what he's doing in that department.
No clue.
And as the creator of
Black Cats!
he also knows
Yo!
how to write
What a freaking manga! Yo, that takes me back to my uni days. Wow!
Generic shonen action thing. In this case, a thing about magic exorcist ninjas who fight to protect an unaware human society from spirits called Ayakashi. Some of which, as we already covered, are man-eating monstrosities, while the smaller, relatively nicer ones mainly do stuff like possess people so they trip and fall and flash their panties at the camera every 10 seconds.
Good job, Ghosts. Good job.
A little more shonen superpower to defeat than others, and
so
also, obviously, you can guess which kind is going to show up more in this ecchi.
What a way to sell the Patreon.
Sometimes Matsuri also has to deal with his rival, who is a very serious, angry guy until he sees a pantsu or touches a boob, at which point he explodes from embarrassment and horniness.
Runs away!
Which usually happens before any cool fights can get rolling on account of Matsuri having absolutely no shame, so come to think of it, I've yet to actually see any of the generic action in this anime become decently exciting. Though it is still early on account of those horrendous delays, so it still could. Ayakashi Triangle has so much going on in terms of typical tropey anime bullshit that if I didn't know it was made in Japan, I'd probably mistake it for a mid-2000s American parody like Girl-chan in Paradise. And the fact that it
so much that you can see on the Patreon version, my god.
Can be oddly endearing, but mostly it just feels predictable, rote, and boring so far. I give it 2 steel trash cans full of bootleg Naruto headbands and those things that aren't kunai but nonetheless change that one Amazon cosplayer's life, soaked in cheap, extra flammable sake with a lit match floating in the air above them, frozen in time for going on
Wow,
3 weeks.
these ratings.
If you're looking to wash the taste of Ayakashi Triangle out of your mouth,
what else we got?
Trashy gender-swapping anime that actually has good writing and genuinely incredible animation for the fan service and everything else, courtesy of the studio behind Mushoku Tensei. Look no further than Onimai, I'm Now Your Sister. The story of a depressed, hentai-addicted 20-something loser shut-in whose life is turned around when his teen prodigy scientist little sister invents a drug that turns him into
Oh, yeah, I remember seeing this one. I haven't watched it, but yeah, this seems weird.
The words top-tier fan service animation from the studio behind Mushoku Tensei.
They're so young, though!
It might raise a few red flags, and I'll warn you
Yep.
up front.
This is making me awkward already.
Will do very little to dispel your suspicions with how it shows Mahiro exploring his new body. However, when it gets to exploring his new identity, how it makes him feel, his renewed relationship with his Imoto Nei-chan, and the newfound confidence in his appearance, which enables him to finally leave the house, you start to realize there's more to Onimai than meets the eye.
This does seem strange, but okay. If there is, this the weird one, isn't it? And the initial idea seems very odd, but if there's a message or something that's meant to come out of it, cool. But it's just somehow the way it's portrayed, and all this stuff is just so pervy.
The show does a damn fine job of disguising itself as purely self-indulgent garbage, and does definitely keep delivering on the bountiful animation for anyone who's here for that. However, much like Mushoku Tensei, if you can look past the questionable aspects of its premise and presentation,
Mushoku Tensei did have a bit of an awkward start.
Even more extreme and persistent in Onimai than they were there, it is a lot to look past, but if you can, you'll find a story brimming with character and heart that uses its unconventional perspective to explore some deep, often overshadowed parts of the human condition. Oh shit, the trash inspector's here. Be cool.
Okay.
Boy, I sure just roasted the heck out of that Onimai.
What's going on with this? Yeah, it seems to be he's promoting a lot of good stuff here. What?
Value that might get this establishment shut down. Why, it's so trashy, I give it 4 bins full of trash, which is very on fire, and if you look under it, you definitely won't find any priceless paintings in flame-retardant bags.
Right.
No, sir. Whew, he's gone. Let's move on before he gets back. And while we're
what
busy
are we checking out now?
Junk, Spy Classroom is a spy anime about the bestest spy to ever spy in the history of spies.
I've seen this manga floating around.
Of 7 young hotties.
Because whenever I'm in Waterstones, I'm checking out, trying to find when the next Kaiju number 8 and Zon 100 mangas are out. This keeps seeing Spy Classroom. Because I'm trying to find Spy X Family Volume 1 so I can read the manga. And that's just not available. So this is interesting.
Their words, not mine.
7 hotties, Jesus Christ.
From their respective spy academies to spy train under him for an impossible spy mission, which isn't just a hyperbolic turn of phrase.
Spying all over the place.
Classification their government gives to missions of that difficulty level. Mr. Spy Guy used to be part of the best spy unit to ever spy, but
so this reminded me of, it's quite funny, like I'm really enjoying Revenges. And there are episodes where you just can't help laugh, where it's like, but we're revengers. Yes, we're revenging, but the revenge. And it's just constantly using the word revenge in certain ways. He's just doing the same. This is brilliant.
Then they all died trying to complete that very same mission 2 months ago, and training up these washout waifu recruits is apparently Plan B. Unfortunately, it turns out Spy Sensei isn't very good at teaching at all, on account of how all his good spyness is just, like, instinctual or whatever.
Oh, he just does it naturally. Doesn't know how to, like, teach people to do it.
Genes, okay. So, in order to train the girls, he tasks them with capturing him in spy versus spy combat.
Right.
Unfortunately, while the girls think of themselves as poor students, it turns out they've all got super special secret skills, such as good at bombs, good at guns, good at punches, good at acting, and immune to poison. Which, when combined through the power of friendship, basically make them one big harem super spy. So they might just have what it
I might
takes
watch
to
an
do
episode
the
of this.
mission and not die after all.
Wow.
Unfortunately, when they do the mission, it turns out the old super spy unit died because they were betrayed by Spy Sensei's sensei.
No.
Who was always exactly 1/10 of a second ahead of him.
Oh
also,
my God.
he had their whole spy
What a
classroom bugged
twist.
up with bugs, so he knows their whole plan.
Oh
and
my.
one by one, he overcomes their super special skills, even immune to Poison Girl's special poison foam.
No.
But unfortunately, or rather, unfortunately for him, it turns out the foam was just a harmless diversion to make him not realize there were 8 spy waifus.
What?
And the 8th one,
oh my God!
Milo Murphy's Law, pretended to not exist for an entire month in front of the bugs, just so she could pop out of a backpack and stab him in the kidney.
Planning.
Unfortunately, it turns out that a stab in the kidney is only just enough to slow his movements down by exactly 1/10 of a second. But
There we go. We keep going.
you already know the but to that sentence because I said it like a paragraph ago. So he loses to Sensei.
Nice.
Mission accomplished. That's not big spoilers, by the way. It happens at the end of episode 3. Then, for some reason, the show backtracks to do a bunch of pointless slice of spy life bullshit with all 8 waifus in that month of training that we already know how it ends, instead of continuing the story, which is extremely confusing,
so bizarre.
but also probably a good call overall, considering all the stuff I just said about that story. Plus some gaping holes I hadn't gotten to yet, such as how the girls talk nonstop shit about how evil the evil Galgad Empire is for planning to use the deadly evil bioweapon they've been sent to steal, even though they're stealing it back for their home country, which invented it to just have it, I guess. I give spy classrooms.
We promise we're not going to use it again after making it and pick it back up.
Spy gadgets and weapons cleverly, but not that cleverly, disguised.
I don't think I'm going to watch that.
Many of which have caught fire due to faulty wiring and/or poorly designed tiny fuel tanks. Speaking of faulty mechanical devices,
what we got now?
4 of them star in Technoroid Overmind, the first male idol anime to hold my attention long enough to make one of these lists by virtue of being ever so slightly completely f***ing insane. The show's basic premise is that 4 Twinkie android roommates have to leave their house after a year inside when their helper AI finally tells them what rent and electricity bills are. Unable to find any form of
it's after lockdown. We got to get out there. But how do we live? Oh no, it sounds terrible.
Formal employment with their 0 experience, they head for this talent show tower called Babel, where aspiring idol climbers compete for status and cash prizes by earning audience votes. Kind of like that one episode of Black Mirror. At first, the android boys are terrible at being idols, but then they go on an emotional episodic adventure to solve the problems of a human they just met, and that inspires them to be not terrible and get all the votes. You can already see a formula forming for the series by the end of episode 1, and indeed, the rest of the episodes follow it diligently, with the androids learning weekly lessons about what it means to be human by doing stage shows at a theme park or watching a cat die, and then immediately convert that experience into a catchy song and dance number. With quite impressive CGI, all things considered.
Sure, this is reminding me that I still need to watch the rest of Zombieland Saga Season 2. I watched the first episode, and I don't know why I didn't continue. It was quite enjoyable. Damn it. I'm going to have to catch up with that as well. Oh, there's so much anime.
You won't see coming is the anime turning into an entirely different Black Mirror episode in the last post-credits minute of episode 1, in which the boys meet a jolly old drunk factory foreman on their way home from their first successful show, then watch Rob the robot shove him into a vat of molten metal like 10 seconds later. This catches the attention of Connor from Detroit Become Human,
of course it does.
Who initially suspects the idol boys in the murder, but gradually becomes more obsessed with uncovering the secret of their oddly convincing emotional responses, as he fears that them gaining sentience might pose a danger to humanity. humanity.
Oh
so
my.
that becomes a whole subplot. Also, there's
so
a
weird.
anti-android protest group that seems to be secretly plotting some terrorism. Basically, it's a giant Vivi fluoride song ripoff,
weird.
just without the action or time travel elements.
Right.
Or coherent writing.
What a good anime, though, Vivi.
Though there are aspects of the setting that I really enjoy, like how most of Tokyo is like 30 feet underwater due to global warming, and nobody ever mentions it. They just get around on jet skis. Or how people will casually name drop the world government and then just get on with their day. There's some surprisingly subtle world building here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I appreciate, like, this is weird. It's obviously not as good as, like, things I would expect, but, like, I like when world building isn't, like, spoon-fed to you and you just get the gist as you watch the show. It seems to be the way with this, which is good writing, but this does seem like trash.
Infomercial explaining what androids are. And speaking of subtle things, you might have noticed these triangles that they put in the corner of every single shot to kind of cover for the bad animation and weird color choices elsewhere. But you might not have noticed that they're constantly drifting ever so slowly in random directions, which, once you do notice it, is all you can see whenever you watch the show. So you're welcome for that. Technoroid.
Oh, it's got nothing to do with it. Oh my god. That is annoying.
Effective cybernetic yaoi hands, and whatever product makes everyone's hair shine in complementary colors in the future, which is super duper flammable, but in a very specific way that makes Promare style polygonal fires. Now, if you're a regular here at Chez Garbage, you might be thinking it odd at this point that we still haven't gotten to the Isekai yet. Well, I'm sorry to inform you, that's because all of the Isekai, and I can't believe it's not Isekai on offer this season, range from genuinely good to, at best, mildly indistinctly trashy. Sure, the world's greatest exorcist is reincarnated in another world and reborn to master the blade, from hero king to extraordinary squire, do go through
what a title, Jesus!
With the protagonist who hides his incredible magic system breaking powers from his past life for the respective reasons of not wanting to get murdered by the jealous haters again and wanting to lead his own life without any obligation to save the world. And sure, they also anchor their romantic subplots around slavery and lesbian incest, respectively, but there's not a lot I can say about any of that which I haven't already said about far more hilariously shameless isekai, or equally shameless, but they came first ones. And ultimately, in both shows, that stuff's just background noise to a deep exploration of the minute yet fascinating differences between Western elementalism and the Chinese-rooted Wu-Jing system practiced by Onmyoji, and the story of a battle-horny Goku type with tits fighting her way up a global fantasy hierarchy to take down a floating civilization of domineering evil wizards, mostly just to see if she can. Both series are definitely on the self-indulgent side, but neither really represents the sort of unhinged decadence I built this establishment to celebrate. They each rate only one wastebasket full of discarded homebrew D&D rules and character sheets for poorly drawn elf girls.
I'm hoping that stuff I'm watching is not going to... I'm hoping Revenge is not going to get put on there. I just have a weird feeling. Got a weird feeling. Because I'm really enjoying Revenges. So...
in bikini armor. Rest assured, though, even on the rare occasions where isekai does fail us as trash connoisseurs, there will always be other light novel things to pick up the slack. The Iceblade Sorcerer Shall Rule the World is the latest entry in the guy at a magic school who isn't very good at magic, but then secretly it turns out he has the best magic and/or the best muscles genre.
Jesus Christ, that flex!
Which you might not have even known is a genre, but boy, is it ever a genre. And Iceblade Sorcerer...
well, yeah, because, like, Martial Might and Magic... oh, that's coming out this year, isn't it? Oh! Anyway.
Specifically takes after that genre's progenitor, the irregular at Magic High School, aka Mahoka.
Oh, that anime is so bad.
Child soldier with the magic power to turn off other people's magic powers. Though it does also subvert that genre somewhat by not also being about how bad that guy's sister wants to fuck him every day all the time. That said, all of his unrelated classmates still do, regardless of gender, so it could stand to be a lot subvertier. In fact, it's about as generic and dumb as fantasy anime come, But there is a certain charm in that. From the manly roommate who's constantly Myron Protag-kun's shredded abs in a purely
Let's go, bro.
heterosexual way,
Let's go.
to shy tsundere whose twin tails seem to have a mind of their own, to the aggressive tsundere who's super tough but then also
my type.
The cast here is hardly original, but it is undeniably fun to watch them interact.
Love the
with
uniform.
The most fun
Damn.
one of
Oh,
all
that's class.
being Protag-kun himself, Ray White, who comes off as stereotypically surly and mysterious at first, but quickly reveals himself to be a goofy, go-getting sort of guy who absolutely commits to any and all bits.
Mask
from
is
playing
weird.
a hard-ass drill
The mask
sergeant
is very
to
weird.
infiltrating a rival school in women's clothing. Even when he's dealing with the obligatory rich kid bully who hates him for being both poor and better than him, Ray doesn't shove that
dare
guy's
you.
inadequacy in his face or kick him when he's down. Rather, he offers a helping hand and encourages him to be better, which he does in a very slight contrast to your typical Act 1 of a light novel We Have Malfoy at Home. Between that redemption arc, the cross-dressing, and Ray's club full of intimidating yet
Whoa,
encouraging
that's
muscle
very
friends,
intimidating. What's the guy with the mask? What's the guy with the mask? That was weird.
Mob Psycho 100 here. As plain to see as the influence of my Annie-tube buddy glass reflection on this magic school's uniforms. But the best part of that laid-back atmosphere that Ray and his friends help create is how it in turn creates some absolutely hilarious tonal whiplash whenever the show jumps from goofy slice-of-life magic stuff to the blood-soaked war-is-hell edginess of his backstory, with Ray's own magic being so edgy that his face starts bleeding whenever he uses it,
Yo,
which he typically
let's
has
go.
to do in battle
Edginess.
against agents of a secret society of evil wizards who want to become more powerful by murdering
It's the
small
Digimon
children
Emperor.
and draining the magic juice out of their skulls so they can then inject it into the magic center of their own brains. A secret society known only as...
No.
Call your evil organization eugenics, despite the fact that you are clearly practicing phrenology.
Yes.
You know, one thing I... Excuse me for one second.
With its crony writing and
great.
sub-high guardians
That's
quality
great.
animation,
Cool.
I'd be lying if I called any part of this anime good, but I'd also be lying if I said I didn't have a ton of fun watching it be as bad as it is. The Iceblade Sorcerer Shall Rule the World gets 3 trash cans full of the worst Harry Potter fanfiction you can imagine, burning cozily in a well-sheltered underpass. While this particular season is clearly an exception to the rule, with
Excuse
all
me.
the increasingly ridiculous isekai and reincarnation anime coming out lately, you often hear anime fans making crass jokes like, "Heh, but what if you reincarnated as, like, a hot girl's toilet seat? Am I right,
God,
fellas?"
what have we got here?
Well, my life as Inukai-san's dog is as
Oh.
close as anime will ever get.
I have seen some clips on Twitter, and this just seems so over the top, unnecessary. Like I'm sure I saw a clip where she's trying to get the dog's attention, and she puts a bone in her panties. Like, I am sure I seen that. If that, I might be wrong, but that was something I didn't need to see.
To answering that question, only it's not joking, and also, as you can guess from the title, it's not about a toilet seat. Though, given how Inukai-san uses the new dog that her simpy classmate has mysteriously transformed into, the distinction hardly seems to matter. Except, I guess, that you can't also watch a toilet seat pee on other things, or suck its tail like a...
Not
I'm sorry,
censoring this
did
one.
that description sound nasty? Good. Because that's exactly what this anime is. Unbelievably, irredeemably so. Seriously, given the choice, I'd rather my
It's a
family
dog.
walk in on me watching Bible Black. I don't think I can even name some of the tags this show fits under, let alone show you most scenes from it, without getting my entire channel demonetized from orbit. Luckily, Yazzie, brave soul that she is, has already sat through and reviewed the equally nasty
The
manga,
manga.
so
Ugh.
I can just point you to her video if you want to learn more.
Okay.
Which, trust me, you really don't, but we both know that's not going to stop you. I give
Okay.
Inukai-san's dog 5 medical waste bins.
I'm probably
with
right
all
then
the
in what I've
eyeballs
seen.
people
Oh,
have
it just seems
clawed
so
out of their
weird.
skulls after seeing it, soaked in enough napalm to burn an entire city down, which somehow
Damn, what a
still
rating.
isn't
What a
nearly enough.
rating.
Okay, that last course was pretty darn spicy, and I understand if any
What
of you
we
feel
got
like you can't handle
here.
another bite of it, but rest assured, our final course of the evening is so mild and flavorless that by the time you're done with it, you won't be sure
It's just
if you've
terrible.
ever eaten anything before in your entire life. The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten is a
Oh, this... when I remember hearing the premise of this and thinking this sounded quite good. So, alright, cool, go on.
rom-com for anyone who ever thought Kimi ni Todoke was too fast and exciting. The series follows a pair of classmates who both live alone and are coincidentally neighbors, the boy one of which is kinda surly and bad at housework, while the girl one is kinda quiet and good at housework. Also, the girl one is very popular and so famous for her beauty and good grades that all of their schoolmates call her Tenchi-sama, which makes her really uncomfortable for hopefully obvious reasons. But the boy one doesn't do that, so she does his housework for him, and sometimes they look at each other and blush. Now, considering its aggressively inoffensive presentation, some of you might question me including this show on the menu at all, but make no mistake, while the taste may be ever so slightly sweet, and the texture almost imperceptibly fluffy, this is anime junk food through and through. Every bit as conceptually unrealistic and shamelessly wish-fulfilling as the raunchiest
it's like
horror
something that would
thing you could
never,
think of. Maybe
ever
even
happen.
more so, because
Right.
in those shows, the girls at least want something that's fun for both Protag-kun and themselves after he shows them basic human decency one time, whereas here, the titular Tenchi-sama is just tripping over herself to become our unhygienic hero's full-time mom like 10 minutes into the first episode because he said exactly one nice thing to her.
Right.
And hold up, all you fans jumping down to the comments, I know that makes sense in the context of her having grown up super lonely, raised by a nanny in a very rich but impersonal
Go on,
household,
give us the but.
and also being too gosh darn beautiful and unapproachable to make any friends at school. And I'll even admit that's the same basic backstory that Kaguya-sama has, and I've praised the heck out of her anime specifically for its believable character writing. But the key difference there is that Kaguya has severe mental and emotional issues that she spends most of the series getting over before she can so much as see a movie with a boy, let alone clean a guy's apartment, cook for him, or help him out in any way that isn't borderline torture. I'm sorry to burst your bubble like this, Angel Next Door simps, but people don't just go from an alienating upbringing like that to instantly being an ideal domestic partner whose only hang-up is being overly hesitant to call their new thing with the hot neighbor boy a thing, which just happens to be conveniently fine by him because he's also scared of commitment. Horimiya was able to make
what a show. This was so good. It was amazing.
Domestic blissy.
Right, not normally my type of show, but me and my ex, when we were together, and I was living at her mum's for a bit, during the lockdown actually, we binged this, we watched this, it was so good. Episode 1 was amazing, episode 2 was slow, and then episode 3 got into it. It was so funny, it was so good, so cute. And I'm very open-minded to these kind of shows, but this doesn't sound great. Horimiya, awesome, this does. But
romance between seeming opposites with complementary hidden sides feel real because the hidden trauma that each character was carrying was severe enough to create storylines without completely fucking them up in the head. But Angel Next Door can't really do that because it's fully committed to making its signature waifu as desirable as possible in every way conceivable for its lonely, poor male target audience while still maintaining that low-key, down-to-earth vibe, which was clearly a very smart move from an anime marketing perspective. Tons of weebs are going crazy for this show. Hell, when I was younger, before I knew how to hold a real conversation with a woman, I would have been right there with them, gobbling this trash up and praising it as fine cuisine for finally giving me the conflict-free warm and fuzzies all the will they won't they anime left me craving. I basically did do that with Ore Monogatari, though at least Goda and Rinko had comedic chemistry going for them. I can't fault Angel Next Door for its efficacy as a wish fulfillment engine and waifu delivery system, or how it uses its aggressively bland slice of life aesthetic to hide what it is and thus make those elements exponentially more effective. But I also can't unsee the trick now that I do have some real experience, or stop myself from dozing off watching it. The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten gets 4 dumpsters full of extra plain crackers and body pillows soaked in chloroform. With that, we've reached the end of tonight's menu, and I know that last entry left you with a serious case of the itis, so I'll let you get going and get to sleep without much more patter. Though, if you do want to stay awake a bit longer and maybe check out my review of every single Hollywood anime,
right, I do want to check that out actually. Oh, I forgot about it. Yeah, might do that. Might do
I'm
that.
Jeff Thu, your trash anime sommelier, saying farewell until our next dumpster dive.
That is a video to consider for next month. Interesting. I am glad Revengers wasn't on there. It's a very enjoyable anime. I just thought, like, out of everything I'm watching, it is the how do I put it? It's not the most well-written show, but I'm enjoying it. Nier Automata, Trigun Stampede. I'm glad Nier Automata's back as well, because like I was slacking that off from the first episode, and then I'm just enjoying that now. So, yeah, cool. Now I know what shows not to watch, or maybe just watch one episode to get what he's talking about. But anyway, thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video upload, link description to the Patreon page. $1 more to support the channel is greatly appreciated. Thank you guys for that, and thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe, and leave comments down below. Let me know if you watch us for future videos, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.